Hello, this is the Pursuit of Anime, where we mixed anime and philosophy, and we're around spooky season, so we thought we'd get into some thought experiments, of course, around the theme of anime and philosophy. You're joined here by myself, Raven, and Teddy.
Hello.
Teddy, who, recently we just spoke about Uzumaki together, um, and that was a pretty fun topic, just getting into kind of the philosophy of why we love horror, why we read horror, why horror is such a captivating genre for most people. And today we're just gonna kind of have some fun, do a bit of a different video where we get into some hypotheticals, some thought experiments, um, kind of spooky ones. Now, I guess to kick us off, I know Teddy that you have some qualms about how Kyrie, the protagonist of Uzumaki, the girl, how she kind of went about handling the spirals. How would you have handled the spirals differently from Uzumaki?
Um, Before we get into that, man, I just have to say, last week I didn't say anything because you begged me not to, but she's one of the stupidest protagonists I've ever met in my entire life. How many times are you going to be confronted with some kind of anomaly before you realize that that's your reality? And the sooner you understand that and adapt, the higher your chances of survival. She has zero survival and self-preservation skills, brother. I don't know what is wrong with her. I was reading the thing like the whole time, like it's in front of you, it's in your face. How are you still not understanding what's happening right now? And what made it even more upsetting is that she had a counterpart in her boyfriend who was on top of it. He was on game like from day one. And he even told her, you may not be seeing it right now because you never leave this place, but I do. So when I go some places and I come back, I'm like, there's something not quite right about this town. And especially with spirals, like something is going on.
Yeah.
You're getting all kinds of warning signs. It's like, what will it take for you to understand to be on guard? Like, I don't know. I don't, and I like how Junji Ito. I know he was trolling because he had that moment in the story where you remember how they used to cremate people, but then after they cremated that one guy who twisted himself into a jar to look like a spiral, and the smoke from cremating him was starting to drive everybody around town crazy. They decided, oh, we're gonna start burying people again now because we don't want that to spread around. And she's having this conversation with a friend, and she's like, oh wow, they really stopped cremating people? Why? And her friend is like, are you actually dumb? Like, are you seriously asking this question right now? And I felt like that was a self-insert moment from the author. Like, yeah, I know she's dumb. I know she's stupid. Don't worry, I'm aware. I'm like, okay, yeah, at least you're aware, because if you're genuinely writing this character to be that clueless, I'm like, nah, nah, there's no way. There's no way. I just cannot take you seriously. You are aggravating. Your stupidity and your lack of a self-awareness is aggravating. It pisses me off. I just didn't know how to deal when I was reading it. And it almost detracted from the horror aspect of things for me, because it's like, I want to enjoy this, but this stupidity is too much. It's
Yeah.
it's it's beyond what's acceptable. I can't understand it. So yeah, I felt the need to let that go, just because you prevented me from doing that last time. So
Yeah.
now that we're delving more into this, I can do it now. So there you go. If I were in her shoes, man, listen, bro, I'm like, there's the one thing that was also very frustrating. The boyfriend kept saying, let's leave this place, and for whatever obscure reason, she wouldn't. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Do you not see what's happening around you right now? But I guess not. I guess not. I guess she was fine with all those anomalies and all these traumatic experiences happening to her. So I was like, you have no self-preservation skills whatsoever. You deserve to go. I'm sorry to say. Like, if you're going to not have the very bare minimum of survival instincts, I'm sorry, you gotta go. You
Yeah,
know? So I'm upset that she survived, low key. Like, you
that's
don't.
the thing, man. Like, there's like, I feel like a lot of people, especially in like horror movies, like their lack of survival instinct is just shocking. Like, if
It
something is happening in front of you that is clearly like it means imminent death, you
Yeah.
should run or do something that is going to
Ooh, eh,
inhibit that from reaching you.
yeah.
But I mean, I guess it's par for the course with humans, man. Like, I work in restaurants, and people, even just ordering food, going out to eat is a struggle for some people, man. Like, some people, they're just like they have zero concept of how to act as a normal human being. I just think they maybe don't get out much or something. I don't know what it is. Like, last night I was serving this table. I go up to them. I'm like, "Hey, how's it going? Blah blah blah. Do you have any questions about the menu? Just trying to help them out." And they're like, "Oh, we need 5 more minutes." I'm like, "Okay, you need 5 more minutes for what? For human interaction? Like, just say hello, man, and just say like, yeah, no, we're good. We'll just take some time, I guess, looking at the menu, and we'll let you know if we need anything. That's all you need to say. 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes for what?"
I
And
think
so,
it's probably like a different environment that they're used to, where when a server comes up to them, they think they're already going to start hounding them with questions. So that's probably why
yeah.
they said that. But yeah,
Yeah, but they don't listen to what is actually being said, which is a sign of like you're just not situationally aware. Like, it's not about like what you're used to. You have to be ready to receive whatever's in front of you, whatever information is being presented to you at the moment, right?
yeah.
And that's kind of an example. Like, that's a showing of like quick-wittedness, a showing of attentiveness. And in a situation like Uzumaki, you need that. You need to be attentive. You can't focus on like your past experiences and your past knowledge. You have to be ready to absorb what you're seeing in front of you and act quick. Think quick. It's almost like boxing. If you're let's say you're fighting me today, Teddy, right? And then
Mhm.
tomorrow you're fighting someone completely different. You can't fight that completely different person based on how I was fighting yesterday, right? Because they're a completely different person. They're gonna fight differently. So you had to be just ready there to, I guess, kind of adapt and assimilate to how this person fights now, so that you can make the next best course of action.
Mm, yeah, yeah. No, that's true. That's why
Yes.
Tyson always said, like, yeah, everybody has a plan until they get punched. It's like, okay, what do you know how to adapt in that situation when you get hit with it, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess in the case of somebody like Kyrie in Uzumaki, that's even more challenging because it's phenomena outside of the realm of what's expected that
Yeah.
happens. So it's harder even to adapt because you don't even think something like that could or should happen. You're like, wait, what's going on right now? This doesn't even make sense. So part of me kind of understood at first the kind of denial you find yourself in when you see certain occurrences around you that don't make sense, right? They don't tie to reality or what you consider to be your reality. So you're there, you're thinking, this doesn't this isn't real. This is not. So there is a certain amount of time that you need to process, right? But at some point, your innate survival instincts need to kick in and you need to move. You need to make decisions to preserve yourself, to save yourself. If you
Yeah.
don't do that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. That's just I can't respect that. It's you know.
Yeah.
That's why it's
And
always funny. Yeah, go ahead. My fault.
no, and like I was reading this morning actually, and this is kind of a developing story, so of course this may change over the course of time, but scientists, they have a very pragmatic kind of systematic mind, right? Where they take everything and they kind of have a system in which they handle information the way they intake information. But with science, sometimes you have to have that instinct, right? That just gut instinct. And I don't know if you know about dark energy, Teddy, but dark energy is basically, to give a quick kind of explanation of what it is in the late 1990s, the astronomers were they kind of had this like notion or this knowledge that the universe was expanding, right? We were observing that the universe was expanding like a balloon, and it was going pretty fast. Now, knowing what we know of the world, right? Gravity like kind of pulls things in, right? So you have a balloon that's expanding, but at the core of this balloon is gravity. So, theoretically, the balloon should kind of be expanding really slowly, or the expansion should be gradually slowing down, right? Because gravity is working against that kind of ballooning effect. But what they observed was actually that instead the rate of expansion was increasing. And so something had to be powering this accelerating universe. Um, and
Beyond just the work of gravity. Yeah.
beyond just the work of gravity. And so they basically came up with a theory of dark energy or dark matter, which is basically the substance, if you will, or the that something that is powering this kind of great acceleration or great attractor or great pull. Um, so just recently there was this article that came out. There's these scientists that have been observing the universe, and they've been observing dark matter, dark energy, and they've come to the conclusion that the more that they're observing this, um, the more that the life expectancy of the universe is actually decreasing. So
Mhm.
basically, the more they're getting to know about dark matter, the worse it is. So basically, the more you're finding out, the worse it's getting for you. You know,
Yeah.
and that's a pretty scary thought experiment. So it kind of brings up the question, Teddy, like, are some things better left unknown? Because if we basically they're saying if we would have never tapped into this and started learning about this, we maybe the universe would have lived longer. But now that we're observing it, we're starting to tap into it. We're starting to mess with the energies with the Large Hadron Collider, with all types of technology. It's actually shortening the life expectancy of the universe and accelerating the rate at which the universe is going to die. So do you think that that's a true kind of like a thought experiment, that some things should better be left unknown? Is it sometimes ignorance is bliss?
Um, I don't wanna say sometimes. I'm gonna say most times ignorance is bliss. You know, it's just you have to pick and choose what to be what to be ignorant about, and what not to be, right? Because there's certain things that you you being ignorant about them is detrimental to you, right?
Yeah,
So it's like doing that balancing act of picking and choosing. Okay, is this in my best interest for me to not bother knowing about this, or is it better if I do try to get some knowledge on this, just in the off chance that it could come in handy, right? So I ain't gonna lie to you, man. There's a lot that I don't care to know more about, because it's like I don't see how it impacts my life in any way, whether positively or negatively, if I know about it.
yeah,
Until I'm faced with that, like with the situation where that whatever it is comes into play, and then it's like I need to learn about this. But until that happens, sometimes there's a lot of things that I do agree. Like, you know what, you just leave it be, because um it's not relevant to you.
yeah.
All right.
Of course, yeah. It's not like immediately like anything that you really need to care about. Let's. What about this though, Teddy? Let's take it to the anime side of things, where like, imagine this. You just got done with the Chimera Ant arc, right? Let's say you were on the team with Hunter, with Killua and Gon. You successfully defeated Meruem. You eliminated the threat of the Chimera Ants, right? Now let's say um, scientists of the Hunter Association come to you and they say, "Listen, you guys did the work. Basically, you don't have to worry about how we did it, but we're basically promising and guaranteeing that nothing from the Dark Continent will ever come here again to threaten us, right? Now, basically, should you take their advice and never go there? Because I know that's basically what where Hunter X Hunter was going, right? Where they were all gonna kind of gonna go there. Should you just leave that beast alone, leave it in the chest, or should you go in there and explore? Because there is the potential danger. I mean, it's kind of like a hollow promise. They're saying like, yeah, like it will never happen again. But should you go even just in case, and kind of try to eliminate them?
So that's why it's like you have to justify it.
Yeah,
Do you believe that the benefit that you get from going there and finding out for yourself outweigh the potential that something horrible might happen to you? Or even if you do survive, you're gonna come back with some kind of ailment, disformity, or some calamity. It will come back with you.
yeah,
So that's where you have to make those tough calls, right? Because if somebody were to say, okay, yeah, if you go there, it's not, I mean, there's no need for you to go there because something like this will not happen again, or the chances of it happening are so infinitely small that it doesn't, you don't have to worry about it. But then you also have to wonder, right? Do you have the the tools at your disposal to do something about it one way or another? Because even let's say, right, let's say that you are extremely skeptical and you say, no, I'm still believing like whatever that 0.2% chance, it's like what's that law? Is it Darwin's law or something, that if something can go wrong, it will, right? If you
yeah,
strongly believe in that and you're like, hey, I know that 0.2% is infinitely small, but it still exists. So because of that, I'm going to go. Do you have the abilities to handle what's going to hit you when you go there? Right? Because it's not just enough to say, I want to be proactive and take preemptive action against whatever might come. Is, can I handle it? You know,
yeah,
do I have the facilities to do so? So it's a lot that comes into play at that point. It's not a simple decision, right? Of just, I'm gonna go there and figure it out. So if somebody told me that, listen, with what we had, you saw what happened during Camera and Arc. It was all we could just to handle that. What am I gonna do going to the dark continent with like, I'm no, no, there's no way. I'm good. I'm staying my ass behind because I do not have the facilities. Now maybe if I train and I gain more, stronger and I'm more confident in my skills and my capabilities, then maybe I might consider it, because I'm like, okay, I feel like now we're more prepared to deal with a threat like that if it happens again. But just to be sure, let's go out there and confront those, uh, uh, those challenges before they come and find us. But I have to be sure to be prepared before like, bro. Remember, Jing,
yeah.
Gin Frakes, like, Gon's dad. Even he, who most of us in the Hunter x Hunter fandom agree is probably top 5 Nen users of all time, even he was not ready to just throw himself at the Dark Continent, because he knew, like, you need to be prepared if you go there.
That's insane.
Because if you're not, you're going to get wrecked. So if somebody like that is going to take these extra precautions just to go, who am I to be bold enough to say, yeah, I'm gonna go there myself and handle it? No, no, we're staying
Yeah,
back and we're trying to get right before we do try to do anything like that.
yeah, man. How just a random? This is not. This is just a random like oddball. Let's say this, man. You take Griffith,
Oh
Dio,
Lord.
Griffith, Dio, Madara, and Aizen. You throw them in the Dark Continent. Are they clearing? Are they clearing it out?
Oh, okay, Griffith, Dio, Badra, and
And
Aizen.
Aizen, the
Ah, yeah,
fucking
yeah.
Fantastic Four, bro.
Dude, they're broken. And the thing is, it's not just their strength, it's their mindsets. They are so mentally strong. They're mentally very tough. And they're just
And as a team, imagine their abilities working together, bro.
that's the
Aizen,
problem though. If we're taking their personalities into account, they're not working together.
yeah,
But if we assume that they have a common goal,
it's
then
over,
it's
bro.
possible that they will be willing to work together because it's something that they all want. And at that point, the world is not ready. I don't know a single verse that's ready to handle
Like,
that
let's say this.
that
Let's say this.
crossover.
Let's say this. They see basically they hear that Chimera Anarch. They're all fighting. Let's imagine they're all fighting. Dio, Aizen, Madara, and who was it that I just said as well?
Griffith, Griffith.
Griffith. They're all in a fight, and they're all about to try to kill each other. And then someone comes, random sage comes, and he's like, "Yo, why are you fighting when you could just meld your powers and become one being, the greatest being to rule them all?" And the answer to that is in the Chimera Anarch. There's this random temple there where if you go there, you're going to be able to fuse and become even stronger than ever and become one homogeneous being. And for whatever reason, they all say, "Yeah, this sounds great." So they're all making their way to Chimera Anarch, man. Are they wiping it out? Are they clearing house?
I have to say, man, um,
We don't even know what's there. What's in Chimera Anarch? Like,
I
it's so
know.
hypothetical.
I think Eisen alone might be enough, low key,
God.
because just his spiritual pressure alone, he's gonna come there and shake the whole realm. Like, I'm here. What's up? What's going on? What are we doing? And you know, whatever gets thrown at him, they'd be lucky if they even get to touch him. Because mind you, it's not just the amount of spiritual energy he has. It's the way his ability works. He's gonna make them see a world that's not real. He's gonna make them live an illusion. And while they're tripping, he decimates every single one of those creatures in the Dark Continent.
Bro.
Or
And
even worse, right? If you throw in Dio, Zawardo, it's over. He stops time. When he stops time, Aizen has too much time to finish them off. While Madara is dropping meteors on their ass. It's like, what are we
meteors, yeah.
doing? Like,
And that's the
if
thing. They
yeah,
have that the crazy thing about them is they have stops in place. So even if somehow hypothetically you can break out of Aizen's Suigetsu or whatever his what was the name what was the name of the
yeah, that's
Shikai?
yeah, yeah, it's Sugetsu something. It's something
Suigetsu
Sugetsu.
something. Yeah, Suigetsu
Yeah,
something. Um so basically if you're able to break out of that Aizen's illusion, right? Aizen's trick,
yeah.
Madara will get you in a Tsukiyomi or something, some type of Genjutsu. And if you break out of that, Dio just stops time and they'll just get you back into the illusion. Like, that's just it. And if you break out of that, Griffith's gonna come out with some otherworldly hell
Oh,
type
I
shit.
heard Griffiths is disgustingly powerful right now.
He is incredibly insanely powerful. Like, so yeah, I mean, man, it's just insane. I agree. I think they all clear house. First of all, the fact that Aizen is literally like incorporated. So like people forget like in the Soul Society, these people cannot be um they can't be handled with in the physical world. They exist outside. So he's literally a Shinigami. That means like a Grim Reaper. He's a spirit. So he cannot even be touched. He literally cannot even be touched unless you are a Shinigami yourself, like, or
Yeah,
you exist in that
unless
world.
you exist on that plane as well,
Yeah,
there's nothing for you to do.
yeah. So it's
It's
just over, man. Aizen would solo it, let alone like all four of them, which is just
yeah.
insane.
Yeah,
Um,
it's absolutely ridiculous to think about. That's an insane crossover. Like
I love that. Yeah,
I love it too. I love it too. It's a nice hypothetical, but
but you know what, Teddy? talking about like kind of ignorance is bliss, and kind of like living in your own world, even if there is knowledge outside like of your realm, if you can't handle it or do anything about it, like why should you really think about it that much? There's this thought experiment called Rocco's Basilisk. So I'm pretty sure you heard of it because it's a very famous thought experiment. You've probably heard some form of it, but it's basically this idea that, and think about this, right? There is this super intelligent AI, right? In the future, it exists. Let's say 70 years down the line, you'll still be kind of alive. I assume kind of alive. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Um,
Yeah.
in the future, and basically, this AI would be incentivized to create a virtual reality simulation that tortures anyone who knew of its potential existence but did not directly contribute to its advancement or development in order to incentivize said advancement. So basically, if you knew about this robot, or if you lived a life and you did nothing to advance the production of this robot, it's going to torture you. It's going to off you and torture you forever. Now, taking that into account, even if like it's not in your lifetime, and even if the AI never comes into existence, should you still live your life kind of contributing to its advancement? Because basically, if you take this thought experiment, right, replace the AI with some form of God, right, and it's kind of the same thing, is what a lot of philosophers have argued and thought about, where basically, if if God is real, if you don't live your life believing in him, then you will suffer and go to hell or whatever. So hypothetically, even if you don't believe there's a God, you should believe in there is a God and live your life according to God, in the off chance that you would go to hell and live an eternity in hell. Do you kind of give credence to that thought experiment? There's a lot of people who do. I don't know what you think about that.
Uh, so basically, it's like having a contingency plan almost. It's like just in case, just on the off chance that it might be real. Let me just be sure, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
It's like, let me start believing in kryptonite and searching for kryptonite on the off chance that Superman exists and he's out to get me.
At that point, it's like how well can you gauge the possibility of that existing? It's because sometimes even if you don't have any proof of something existing, right? You could have some inkling or some clues or some sort of indication that it might be something like that out there, right? Where let's say, hmm, just like even sometimes in your day-to-day life, you get some occurrences that happen, and you think back on it, you're thinking, oh man, I feel like at that particular point in time, I was just so incredibly fortunate or lucky or something. It's almost as if there was a force out there looking out for me, right? If you have enough experiences like that in your life, it's possible that you're going to come to the conclusion that, yeah, there may be something out there like that. So, on the off chance that my hunch is correct, I need to get to praying, right? I need to do the right thing because I feel like it might be possible. Like it's a possibility out there, 100%. So I feel like to answer that, it's just it comes down to how um like based on context clues, how likely is it for that thing to exist? You know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where, like, how I would say that, because I mean, with kryptonite, that's like, I mean, that's a good example of something that would be very ridiculous. You say, okay, am I going to start mining for it, trying to find it on the off like, uh which in that case I'm like, okay, that's a bit more unrealistic. But then there are other times when, you might be onto something, and then people will call you crazy, and then imagine the feeling when you're proven right, so it just depends also on your conviction in your beliefs, because a lot of the time people are in these situations, they know better, right? But then they like to sell themselves on delusions and delve into that. It's like, more often than not, your gut feeling is pretty accurate, so follow that. Even if you want to believe in something, if your gut feeling is telling you, I'm not sure that's a good idea, just follow that.
Yeah.
Usually it won't steer you wrong, you know?
Yeah. And my criticism of this like kind of thought experiment is that like at what point does it end, man? At what point does the kind of hypothetical end? Like, okay, let's say let's just assume God is real, right? We'll have to live our lives according to it just in the off chance that he does exist and we don't want to go to hell, right?
Mm.
Well, what if the freaking AI exists too? And it wants to send us to hell also if we don't believe in it and kind of start working on it and you contribute to its production. So we got to start contributing to its production now, whatever that means. And now what if Superman exists? Now I had to start searching for kryptonite, blah 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 blah. Blah. And what if
Yeah,
this exists? And what
right.
if that exists? And what
That's
if
that's where
Bigfoot?
reasonable doubt comes into play, right? Because,
Yeah,
like, which one of these is more likely to be the case more than others? And that's why I say, like, kind of going back to the example you gave earlier of, working in a restaurant. You come up to a table and they yell at you, oh, 5 minutes. It's like, people are losing the ability to be in touch with their own inner common sense and gut feeling,
yeah,
where they question themselves and they doubt themselves so much that they lose that ability to gauge between what's more likely and what's not so likely. And so that's how you have extremists or radicalists, you know, come to life, because they're so unable to have nuance in their sets of beliefs, that they just completely abandon themselves to that one particular one, and that's it, right? So if they want to believe that you should always be prepared on the off chance that something you might believe in is right, they won't think about, okay, how likely is this belief to be real versus that one. They just go and say, no, you have to act as if all of these have a fairly good chance of being real. And so live your life according to that. It's like, it's not realistic. Doesn't make sense. It's not healthy. It's not balanced, right? But a lot of people, they don't think that way. They just go one route and they say, okay, that's it. Like, that's how it is, because trying to play that balancing act can be a little bit difficult for some people. And the only reason why it's difficult in the first place is because they're losing touch with their better judgment, with that gut feeling, right? It's like, listen to your mind. Sometimes I feel like, I mean, it's kind of hard to do these days because we have so many distractions, especially with our phones, social media, like, trying to survive sometimes, because the economy right now is spanking all of us across the face, right? But for the most part, it's like, I feel like people in general, they just need to take a minute, just sit down with themselves in complete silence if need be, or play some lo-fi in the background, because some lo-fi go hard sometimes. Just like, If you want some music to think to, it just, you know, sets the mood nicely. But
Yeah.
be with yourself and learn to be in touch with yourself and that gut feeling, right? That inner feeling. Now, mind you, it may not be 100% correct all of the time, but about 80 to 90 is still pretty good, right?
Yeah. 80 to 90 is pretty good.
Yeah, so that's better than just, oh, I'm just going to go full on, like full in this way, and then if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, yippee, and then you're gonna be wrong like 40, 50, 60% of the time. It's like I just, it's not very balanced. So
Yeah. I feel that, yeah. Yeah, there always has to be a balance, always have to keep it pragmatic and basically stay on your toes
yeah,
mentally,
yeah.
basically.
Because there's nothing wrong with believing in those possibilities, those hypotheticals. It's just having the better sense to know which actually has some ground to stand on and which doesn't, you know?
Yeah. Now let's say this, Teddy. Let's say a zombie apocalypse, and by the way, that's actually like a good kind of example of that, of like the kind of what if. Let me build my life around the what if. There's a lot of people right now in America building bunkers just in case the zombie apocalypse happens.
Mhm,
I don't know if you've seen this. There's actually beds that kind of exist that they collapse into like a kind of like a safe or a chest if an earthquake happens. And I know some people that they have these beds. They live in places that don't really have earthquakes, but they have these beds just because, like, oh well, just in case an earthquake ever happens, I'll be ready. I won't pass away, or a tsunami or what have you.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, there's definitely a lot of people. The
You know,
hypotheticals, the what ifs, kind of have captivated the minds of the people as well.
you know what's funny?
What?
So I saw this documentary. It was like really short, but of this lady, I think it was back in 2013 or 2014. She had this obsession out of nowhere of um having sanitation wipes with her at all times, and wearing a mask when she went out. And somebody did a report on her talking about, oh, look at this lady, she's crazy doing all this stuff. And she said, right, in the interview, she was talking about how um she believed that at some point some kind of pandemic would happen where we would need to protect ourselves or take certain precautionary measures like wearing masks and using wipes as much as possible, being clean and all that. And at the time it was funny because it felt extreme, right? It felt like too much. When 2020 hit and when COVID hit, that um that documentary resurfaced, and it was so funny because now it's like, who's laughing now?
Yeah.
Y'all thought I was crazy, right? There you go. And this is the perfect example of what I was talking about earlier, of somebody who followed their gut feeling. I'm pretty sure that she didn't live her entire life, you know, being that extreme in all aspects of her life. It's just that particular, you know, uh side of it. She was like, no, we need to be clean, we need to do this and that, because I feel like that's something that would like inevitably happen. Because you
Yeah.
look at the history of mankind, we do have enough to let us know that at any point in time, a pandemic can hit us. So she wasn't completely crazy, but at the time she seemed that way because nobody would think that in 2020 we'd be facing something like COVID, right? So
Mm-hmm.
but she followed her gut instincts. I think I'm pretty sure she was thriving when everything happened, because while everybody had to all of a sudden be a lot more clean than they're used to, she was already there. So she's like, "Hey, I'm chilling. I don't know what's wrong with you." Kind of like those people who are already recluse and mostly indoors. When they say, "Hey, you have to quarantine," they're like, "I've been living all my life for this moment.
It's my time to shine.
Time now."
The Hisoka swing.
For real, man. They were They were ready. They're like, oh, you've merely adopted this lifestyle. I've been living it for
Yeah,
years. So yeah.
yeah, man. But okay, so like let's get into this hypothetical now. Like what if a zombie apocalypse breaks out? Let's say there's a zombie apocalypse breaks out and it's worldwide, Mr. Worldwide. It's huge, huge zombie apocalypse. Of course there's still like, people still living, towns or whatever. But let's say this. Which character, like anime characters' powers would you bring into the zombie apocalypse? You can take these powers from these three characters. You have Todoroki from My Hero. You have Perona from One Piece, the Hollow Hollow no Mi, and you have Heaven's Door, Rohan Kishibe from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Whose power are you taking into the zombie apocalypse with you? Assume that the Hollow Hollow no Mi ghosts work on zombies, and so does Heaven's Door. It will work on the zombies as well.
Okay, I was about to say, so we're making that assumption. Um,
Yeah,
Honestly, man, this might sound like a boring answer. I probably go with, so I'll give you my answer and then I'll tell you the power that I would like to actually have in that situation. So
yeah,
I'll go with Todoroki. It's easy. I don't want to touch them, bro.
yeah,
On the it's I don't even want that, right? Because what if I mess up and then one is able to get a hold of me and bite me or something? Not saying that it will happen, but on the opposite side, I'm like, just incinerate every single one of them. It's over. Don't get near me. Don't even think about it. Like you're gone, right?
yeah,
Now, with that, that can get very exhausting, just spamming fire all the time like that. And like I have to balance it out with ice, and that's something I don't want to have to think about. Um, but if there's one series that is full of abilities that you would want that could come in handy for a zombie apocalypse, is One Piece. Right?
yeah.
Remember Sugar?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh God, give me her ability because the moment they touch me, they turn into toys. Over. Like I don't have to worry about them potentially touching me because I know that if they get close, it like they won't have time to do because you know how her ability works. It's like instant. So if you try to bite me, that's your ass turned into a toy right there. Right? If you try to do anything, you're gone. It's over. And plus, depending on what time I eat the devil fruit, I'm forever that age. So to eating in your prime is over. Right?
Yeah,
Ain't nobody touching you. Like, hey, you're not ready for the smoke. Okay. Keep your distances I would say if you value your life, but you're a zombie, you don't really have a life like that. So
yeah.
no, that's the thing.
I can
It's
imagine
fun.
Enna would be. I can imagine Enna would be like pretty convenient too because
Oh
if they
my.
they're about to catch you, you just like literally zap away. You teleport away. You
Ah,
never be in danger really.
you're a freaking god. And I think because he's lightning, I wonder if he can fly. Because if he can, he'll just be in the air, you just spamming lightning like a lightning god. Like, hey, you can't touch me.
Yeah,
Can't
he's
touch this.
insane.
Yeah, I mean,
But
you have him, you have like any most Logia really. You got Akainu, the
yeah,
magma dog, like it's over. Like
but I
everybody
think
getting
like
decimated.
I think between like Rohan, Todoroki, and Perona, like I like Todoroki's power because it's not just about killing the zombies. Like that's not the like in a zombie apocalypse, you're never gonna be able to kill all the zombies. So killing the zombies is not kind of the priority. The priority is surviving. And Todoroki, with him, it doesn't matter where you are, you can make fire. And
That's a
if you can
very
make
convenient.
fire at will,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
That's a great advantage. I didn't even think about it like that, but yeah, it's true.
And think about it like this too. You're gonna need water, right? And clean drinking water is gonna be kind of harder to come across. Now he can create ice.
And then
Just create a
melted.
block of ice and
Ah,
melt it. Wait for it to melt with some ice, or even
dude.
make it melt with the fire.
Yes, that's very clever.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
He can cook the food too with his fire, blah blah, blah like so on and so forth. He can preserve like dried meats in the ice. So
Honestly,
he,
it's like a luxury having Todoroki's abilities in the
It
zombie
is.
apocalypse. Now that you're breaking it down like that, I'm like, oh shoot. That's I mean, I had the right answer, but for different reasons. So that this is
Yeah,
good.
you were thinking that meathead like, yo, I'm just gonna go in and destroy
Yeah,
this.
I want to smoke all of them because the way I was thinking is like I even I don't want to be caught off guard at a point where you say I'm trying to procure food or I'm trying to find shelter or something. Because them zombies, they always have this uncanny ability to sneak up in places and pop up at the worst possible times.
Yeah,
Right. So that's why I was thinking in terms of that, like I don't want to risk it. And
yeah.
yeah, no, it's
Rohan's ability is interesting, but the thing is, he will definitely fall victim to the fact that, like, if he gets one, if there's 10, he's gonna get swarmed, you know? But,
yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't lend well to
yeah.
some situation like that.
But then again, if he gets into a town, though, and he's, like, kind of protected, he can actually, like, make his way up the town and become the leader very easily, like, literally overnight. So like it's very circumstantial with Rohan. If all the cards align, all the stars align, and he plays all his cards right, he's gonna be well set as well. But just not as easily as Todoroki. I mean, dude, remember in Miss Incredibles, the Incredibles movie with that ice guy? I think Frozone was his name.
Yes, yes.
Look at what he was doing with the ice, bro. He's just like gliding through the city on the ice. You that could be you as Todoroki. Like that's
Yeah,
how
he's
crazy it is.
styling. Yeah, he's styling with that. That's
But
true.
Perona is also underrated because she can phase through walls. She has a bunch of hollows that she could just wipe out an army instantly. Make them not even wanna unless they're negative, unless they're already naturally negative.
Mm.
Um, she's really powerful as well. So it would be kind of interesting. I mean, they won't even touch you if you're hurt too because they'll pass through you, which is kind of crazy. And even when you're dealing with the problem with Todoroki is you're all fine and dandy surviving alone and also like dealing with the zombies. But when there's no guarantee that other people, won't will take nicely to you, will take kindly to you, you know. But with Perona, it doesn't matter what other people have to say because your hollows can go into them and control them as well, just in case you come across like a rival faction or somebody that's like not so nice of a person now that the zombie apocalypse has been come to pass. So yeah, they all have their own advantages, man. But Todoroki's probably the best survival wise. Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah, I think so too. Like, I was trying to think of other handy abilities like that. It's really like the way you broke it down. It's really hard to come up with something better than Todoroki. The way you be able to use that, like just the amount of versatility it gives you, it's insane. I don't know, like other abilities that do that.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. Um but let's say this, man. Let's say would you rather the power to read minds or to stop time?
Mm, they're both very tempting, both very
And
tantalizing.
imagine like when time stops, it really stops. Like you don't age, you can stay in there forever if you really want to, you know?
Mm. Stopping time comes with so perks because everything stops while you're still moving. You're able to do things. Like as a prime criminal, you can stop time if you go to a bank when they open their vault. You just stop time right there. Like, hey, let's see, let's try.
Let's see
Let's
what
get
it
to
do.
let's see what it do, baby. Uh,
Jesus Christ. Think about it this way,
yeah.
Teddy. Have
Mhm.
you ever had those days that like you just need 5 more minutes, bro, sleeping? Or you just don't want to get into work like immediately. Like you could use like another 30 minutes to kind of like sit down, watch an episode or something.
Yeah.
You just
That
stop
that is
time.
true. That is true. Like, in fact, take that to another level. The weekend. Sometimes the weekend doesn't feel like it's enough.
Yeah.
So if you can stop time, then take more advantage of your weekend and do things. Man, that's a tough one. But with reading minds, you can almost always get what you want.
Yeah.
If you find yourself in certain situations and you're trying to get something to happen, you can read somebody's mind, and be able to tell what makes them tick, what makes them respond. It's just the amount of opportunities that open up to you when you can do that. You're living life on easy mode at that point.
Yo, for real. Like, there's ever a girl you like or something,
Yeah, so I
somebody
was
you like,
thinking,
you read their mind, you kind
and
of
you
like
know
see how they're
exactly the
feeling
things to
about you.
say to, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And then they're like, "Oh, it almost sounds like you're reading my mind." And you're like,
That's because I am a uh
with the eyes rolling back.
yeah,
Just so
yeah.
pleased with your power, with your own
Mm.
ability.
Or if you're wearing glasses, you know that typical anime trope where you fix the glasses and they go all white so you can't really tell like what the eyes are looking like by. It's like, yeah, that's what's happening right now,
You
baby.
could
I'm really
basically socially climb too, you know,
Oh
like
yeah. Oh yeah.
meet hang around like those rich bars, meet rich people, kind of like talk to them. You're eventually gonna get into contact with some really powerful people
Oh,
and
100%. That
make your
I
way up.
think, you know what? I'm gonna read minds, man. I'm gonna read minds because I feel like while I love all the applications and all the possibilities that come with stopping time, reading minds is a different because it, how many times I've been in situations where I wish I could do that to get myself out of a certain predicament. Eh, yeah, I have to go with reading minds. It's like if I knew what to say then, I probably would have had a better outcome in this
But
particular
Eddie,
situation.
let me tell you this. Let me tell you this. Let me just counter that for a sec. Think about this. And if you really feel it, continue even after this. But just think about this, man. How many people you're gonna expect to read their minds and see a lot in there, and you're just gonna find nothing, bro. Like a brain the size of the people, like their mind is hollow. You know what I mean? There's
Oh
gonna be so
God.
many people you expect to find so many things of substance, so much like useful information. Let's say
So
it's a
the
girl's mind,
way,
and you're gonna see
yeah.
TikTok videos on repeat.
Ah,
Like they're not even thinking when they're talking to you. They're just like,
well, you know what I like to think is that your ability to read minds will allow you to know, like it goes beyond just reading what they think, is also understanding how their mind works and being
mm,
able to use that to your advantage, right?
see their
So like,
memories as well, too.
yes, that's what I mean. So like being able to read somebody's mind is like you're getting into their psyche, and you're seeing, okay, what are the different parts of their psyche that I could. It sounds very manipulative, right? But that's the point of having an ability like
That's the
that
best
is,
part.
yeah, that's the best part. You're sick. Yeah, but that's the best part. Uh, but yeah, so you go in there and you find the parts that make them tick, that make them respond, and you use that to your advantage, right? So that's kind of how I look
Yeah.
at it.
Like
So
you see somebody across the bar and you see them and like you're basically able to see their mind and
mm,
you see that they're like they love playing guitar, but they don't have anybody
yeah.
to talk about playing guitar with. They love Taylor Swift or whatever. You go up to them and you start talking about guitar and Taylor Swift, blah 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 blah, and they're all of a sudden like, "Yo, this is a match made in heaven. This is like, what did I do? Like, how did this happen? Blah blah blah."
Hmm.
So
Yo,
yeah,
I just thought about something, man. Do
what?
you remember in one of the greatest anime of all time, High School of the Dead? If y'all haven't watched it, go watch it.
Oh hell
So
yeah,
there's a scene in there, right, where these two girls, they're running down the one of the hallways in the school, hand in hand, talking about we definitely gonna survive this zombie apocalypse. And
yeah.
then one of the girls gets grabbed by a zombie down the staircase, And you remember what her friend did at that point?
No, no, I don't remember. It's been so long. What happened?
Oh gosh, I only remember because it's a meme that gets used every once in a while, and it pops up on my feed, my Instagram feed. But her friend gets grabbed, and she goes like she's panicking. She's like, "Oh, help me!" And she looks at her like, "Huh? What you mean help you?" And starts kicking her to get her off of her because she doesn't want to get dragged down with her. She's like, "Nah, hey, you
Yo,
gonna go by yourself. I'm gone." I was like, "Hey, yo, that's sick." So let me ask you, if you were in that situation, man, what would you do? Like your survival over everything else, or would you try to rescue your homie?
I'll try. I'll try to to the maximum amount of my ability. Is 50-50 though. If I see that there's no way I'm like getting you out of there, I'm out, bro. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And if I were in your position, I would want you to do the same thing. I'm not trying to hold you down and take you with me. You know, one
That's
of us has to
why
live.
that's why that scene in All of Us Are Dead was so powerful to me when that the homie got sick and it's like, no, it's okay. I'll go out by myself. Do
Yeah,
you remember that?
yeah, I remember that. I
Oh,
do.
that was I was like, "See, that's a real homie right there." He knows like, no, I'm too far gone. But I don't
Yeah,
want to drag y'all down. So I'm a handle this myself before it
yeah,
goes south. Like I love that so much. Yeah, but yeah, at least try, right? Like if you're in a situation like this, you're just gonna let your homie go like that. Like at least
yeah.
try
You gotta at least
something.
try, man. Come on.
She
But
just kicked her off, like, nah, you're going down by yourself. Don't drag me with that. It's like,
yeah.
man, that's sick.
But okay, last hypothetical as we kind of get to the end of it. What do you think about? Have you ever seen Gakko Garashi School Live, School Live?
No.
Oh, I almost don't even want to spoil you, man.
Is it like a zombie horror type
Yeah,
series?
I'll just
Okay.
spoil you because even just knowing that is a spoiler already. So episode one starts off with the schoolgirl. She's going around school. She's like, like just living her happy-go-lucky schoolgirl life, right?
Yeah.
And she has friends. She has like a stuffed animal pet. Like everything's beautiful. They're singing. They're dancing. End of the episode, an abrupt change happens, and you realize that all of that is in the girl's head,
Oh no.
and what she's really living is a zombie apocalypse with her friends.
Oh
And
no.
the reason why they're in school is because the school is the last place on Earth apparently that is still safe, and there's
Oh, that's
zombies
horrible.
outside. So let's say this, Teddy. Let's say you are in a zombie apocalypse with your family in your home, right?
Mhm.
And let's take it real close to home. Let's say your mom does not know it's a zombie apocalypse. She actually believes that you are still living with her, a happy-go-lucky family. Maybe you just move back in with her. That's all she thinks. Would you keep up the lie to her, or would you tell her the truth that no, we're living a zombie apocalypse? Like, do you think that she has to know that, or would you kind of shelter the lie and the basically the kind of imaginary bliss, you know?
Mm, that's a tough call. That's a tough call. Mm.
Because even when she sees the zombies and everything, she's not seeing zombies. Like her mind has kind of it's kind of constructed this false reality to kind of cope with the fact that there's
Yeah.
a zombie apocalypse.
Ah, damn. Then at that point, does it even make a difference if I tell her or not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
I mean,
But then you got to think about it. Like, what if you want, like, God forbid, but it's a possibility. What if you end up in the zombie apocalypse? The zombies get in and they eat you alive. You want her to know that that's what's happening
so
because
she can
so
survive
she
if
can
it's
react and survive and get away. You don't want
yeah.
her to think that oh, you're just
Everything is nice and peaceful and rosy when it's really not.
yeah,
Uh, mm, I would I would I wouldn't tell her. I wouldn't tell her because I feel like I'll be able to protect her if something happened.
yeah,
And if she can, live her life happily, not worrying about that, then I'll let her have that. And I'll take it I'll take the burden on myself to protect her and e- uh to keep that false utopia alive, right?
Yeah.
I would do that. But then the moment I realize that I'm overwhelmed or out of my depth, I'll tell her, like, "Hey, listen, I'm sorry to break it down to you like this, but we need to shape up." So, here's the truth.
Yeah.
This life you live in is not real.
Jesus
We're
Christ.
in an apocalypse right now. Wake up.
Straight up go to boot camp.
Take the red pill. Let's go. Let's move. You know.
Yeah.
What's the name of it?
School Live or School Live. The Japanese name is Gakko Gurashi. Yeah, I remember that being a really like it was a bit like it was a big shock because nobody knew. Nobody knew that's what it was. The first episode just dropped randomly and people were like, "Yo, bro, come on, man. Like how you recommending this shit?" And nobody was spoiling it. So I went into it and I was like, "Bro, are you kidding me right now?" Like Chibi Reviews was the one that recommended it to his subscribers, and I was subscribed. So I was like, "Oh man, like Chibi Reviews, he's officially lost it. He's officially lost it. I'm about to unsubscribe." And then the last like 5 minutes, you see the switch up, and I'm just like, "Yo, what is going on here?" And then the story was very short, so it
Uh,
leaves a lot to
I'm definitely gonna check it out because the
yeah.
website that I watch it on, I just looked it up and um there's a comment section under all the episodes, all the videos, and somebody was like, this was really good. I binged in a day. Definitely underrated.
Yeah,
And
very underrated. The manga's actually good. I think it's still ongoing or finished. I'm not sure, but the manga goes much farther than the anime does, and the manga is actually better than the anime. Like it's kind of like Jujutsu Kaisen, where Jujutsu Kaisen apparently gets so much better later. That's basically what happens in School Live. Like, so many cool things happen after what the anime covers.
can I just say, this just reminds me of one aspect of the anime industry that irritates me so much is the fact that stories that deserve a proper anime adaptation a lot of time don't get it because they don't generate enough of a buzz, that there's not enough marketing behind them. It's so frustrating, and I hate when that happens.
Yeah, that's what we got to enjoy.
And then
Support the anime industry as much as you can because that's what'll get us what we want basically out of it.
and then you get trash like Rent a Girlfriend getting multiple seasons.
Oh, come
Okay. No, don't come on me. That's true.
on.
Like everybody knows Rent a Girlfriend is absolute, like that MC is, oh my
Let's not even get into that.
I'm not even gonna
We're gonna
start.
we're
I'm not
we'll
even
get
gonna
into that on
start.
another one for
I'm not
sure.
even gonna start because that
But
just
yeah, but I guess with that, do you have any kind of last thoughts? Anything you want to cover before we wrap it up?
yeah, just one last thing real quick, man. So I don't
Yeah,
know if you notice in most like horror survival stories, it's usually a group of people, right?
yeah,
And you have the one that's leading the group, you have the brains behind the operations, you have the muscle behind the operations, and you have the freeloaders and people that just execute the plans for everybody's survival. Which one would you say more so describes your role in a zombie apocalypse like that?
probably the brains of the group, I would say.
Yeah,
Surprisingly, like I do think a lot. I would say so. Like at least in my friend group, I would probably be the brains of the group, not the bronze. Even though I have some bronze to me,
yeah.
like I'm not the most brawny, so that's forced me to think a lot. And so I feel like I have a good all around head on my shoulders to kind of help steer the group with what we need.
It's probably what I would gauge for you too. That's good.
What would you say for yourself, Teddy?
Oh, I'm the general manager.
Nice.
Organizing everything. I'm like, "Hey, you do this, you do that. You're the brains. You think of a way of us to get out of here. Y'all get
Yeah.
comes up with the plan because y'all going to execute it. I'm just going to be riding on y'all's shoulders. Make sure we make it out of this alive. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's
And that's the best part. That's the best role too, because you're just kind of you're overseeing everything. You're like above the
yeah,
clouds. You have to do stuff, but you don't have to do much. You don't have to do crazy things.
yeah. The thing is, because people don't realize, but that is such a pivotal role because you're assigning everybody their duty, so they don't really have to think about much outside of what like they need to contribute to the
Yeah.
efforts, right? It's just that like, okay, you focus on that, you focus on this, and then we'll bring it all together. So I'm the one in charge of coordinating all the efforts, making sure that we make it out as alive. And then if we fail, it's on me, low key. So because I call the shots. So
Yeah.
they,
And
yeah.
people forget too, like a general manager, like a good general manager will actually get their hands dirty too and
Oh,
help where
absolutely.
needed.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're just sitting on the couch, like just I mean, that's how most general managers are, honestly, in the real world. Like they just sit around watching hamster videos while they tell you what to do and they
No,
don't do anything. But a real general manager, trust me, some of them do exist. They get their hands dirty, that they're actually about that life as well, you know.
the way I would do it, right? The way I would approach it is like as a general manager, because I already have my duty to, let everybody know what their role is and coordinate all the efforts. So at first, I might not do anything. I'll wait because one thing that I believe in is trusting the people that work for you, right? So I'm
Of
like,
course.
I'm trusting that you can handle this. But if I see that we're falling behind or there's certain places where we need to pick up the slack, I'll jump in there and make
Yeah.
it happen, right? Because okay, now I need to intervene because clearly y'all need my help, right? So it's nice to have that flexibility as a manager to do both when need be. So
Yeah, for sure, man. But yeah, man, this was a really cool kind of thought experiment. I think we definitely I don't know, I think it was a hit for me. Like I had a lot of fun in it, so I think we should do this every now and then.
oh yeah,
Little thought
definitely, it's
experiment.
refreshing. Absolutely. Just don't bring Griffith, Eisen, Matter, and Dia all together because I don't know any verse that can handle that, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a bit much
Yeah.
for yeah.
Yeah, but it was definitely a great one, man. Like yeah, I guess with that we're going into the Halloween. I mean, we're in the Halloween season, but we're going into Halloween in 5 days, I believe. So,
Yeah, it's
hopefully
gonna be
everybody
fun.
everybody listening has a happy Halloween.
Mhm.
And if you know any good Halloween anime or Halloween movies or anything, let us know in the comments below.
We take
Um,
recommendations for sure.
yeah, and I guess with that, we are out of here, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.